मुच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ। I welcome you all for this eighth session of Kaivalyopanishad, organized by Shri Swami Brahmchari Trust, Mumbai, under Shri Daya Smriti Gita Chintan Mala, and we have so many people behind this video rendering, background setting and recording and uploading and all. We have Shri Prakash ji, Shri Dubey ji. I thank them all for supporting Brahmchari for this noble cause. So we have seen how many shlokas so far? We have seen 12 shlokas and we have entered into the 13th shloka, and the 13th shloka has a beautiful illustration to show the upaya, how we go about gaining this knowledge, gaining this self-knowledge, gaining this knowledge of Brahma Tattva, gaining the knowledge of limitlessness, gaining this knowledge of oneness, gaining this knowledge of non-separation between the individual and the total, gaining this knowledge of Brahman, which happens to be your Swarupa. You have a Rupa, we all have Rupas, different Rupas, and we take also different Rupas. Some Krodha, Kama, Moha, Lobha comes, our Rupa changes. Our Swarupa does not change. That is the subject matter. Our Swarupa not only does not change, it is also, it happens to be of the nature of what? Limitedness or limitlessness. It happens to be of the nature of limitlessness. We being here and now, ourselves is limitless. What was the shloka? We were looking Atmanam Aranim Kritva Pranavam Chottaranim Jnana Nirmathanabhyasat Pasham Dahati Panditah. Make your Atma. Here the word Atma would mean Antakarana. See, when I say the word I also sometimes, if I say I am hurt physically, then I would take the form of my body. If I say I am hurt mentally, then the I refers to my Antakarana Buddhi. And if I say I slept well, then it even goes to the witness Sakshi, which is able to say or register my activity of sleeping well, which, because of sleeping well, would include the resolution of even your mind. So the mind is not there, but I'm able to say I slept well. So as you see, the English I also, it is not just referring to body all the time, or it is not just referring to mind all the time. So likewise here in this shloka, the word Atmanam refers to your Antakarana Manaha. It refers to your mind. Aranim krutva. So make your mind as the arani. Arani here is the what did we say? We already saw the meaning of the shloka, the word meaning of the shloka. And the word meaning was making the Atma, your mind, as the bottom base wood, the wood which is the base inside which we are going to churn another wood and create fire. The traditional way of creating fire, which, or the ancient way of creating fire, which is being followed even today when there are big homas being conducted. That is how they do it. And so when the base wood becomes your mind, then what is the piece of wood which you use on the top of the base wood to churn? That piece of wood which you would use on the top to churn is Pranavam Chottararanim. Pranavam. Omkara. We'll see how it works. Omkara is the sound of Paramatma. It is the, if I may say, it is a very samkshipta or suchaka form of the reality. Okay? So it is the short form or the encapsulated form of the Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, Karana and also Paramatma. Karana, and then that Karana has a Karana in terms of Adhisthana. Okay, Karana is one word and Adhisthana is a different word. So everything is represented by Omkara, and naturally, if everything is represented by Omkara, then that Omkara has to be unfolded. The meaning of the Omkara has to be unfolded. So the meaning has been folded as Omkara. So we can start with Omkara. The meaning is folded into Omkara, so we can start with something Mangalam, which is Omkara. Omkaraschata sabdascha dvaubhau Mangala suchakaha. Omkara and Atha Shabda, these two are Mangala suchakaha. So we chant the Omkara. So the Shastra, just so that we don't expand the whole Shastra when the subject matter is a puja, or when the subject matter is some upasana. So we had come up with this beautiful Omkara word, and then we have to analyze the word. So people sometimes they are so, what I should say, are taken away by this Omkara word, and they don't dwell into the meaning, and they just come up with different ways of chanting Omkara. And then they also come up with different forms of Omkara. See, as a student of Vedanta, our focus is on what has been encapsulated inside Omkara. So what you do? Jnana nirmatana abhyasat. The second line in the shloka, the first word is Jnana nirmatana abhyasat. So the Omkara has to be unfolded. It has to be revealed in terms of knowledge. So that happens by churning this Omkara with the base. What means you are drilling the reality of Omkara, you are drilling the meaning of Omkara. Jnanam is the meaning, artha, or the knowledge of Omkara. knowledge of yourself, your reality, that you are drilling it in where? Into the base, which is what? Your antakarana. Antakarana. Abhyasat, and you're doing it again and again. You're studying Shastra, you're doing Shravana. Bhavana Punyena, again and again, that Shravana, the listening, the studying with the teacher, that is being illustrated as the churning. Jnana nirmathana abhyasat. Abhyasa would mean Bhavana Punyena, again and again. Then what does it happen after all this churning? What is the result? Pasham dahati panditah. You become the one who possesses the panda, the right means, and you have done the right analysis, and you have spent the appropriate amount of time and effort, and you put the right effort, and you become the pandita, and the result is, so pandita is not just a certificate. The result we have to see, pasham dahati. So you're pandita because your bandhana, your sense of bondage is gone. See, I didn't say bondage. I said your sense of bondage is gone. A bondage need not be a physical granthi. Taking the rope to be the snake can be a bondage. Can be a bondage. You will be tied down to your fear, and that fear आपका डर नचाती है. That fear will toss you around, will make you go from post to pillar. So without knowing that what you saw as a snake is just rope. So that kind of a bondage. The bondage need not be just a physical, real bondage. It can be a bondage which can even toss you around. Okay? So that is why that sense of bondage. So that if the sense of bondage is there, you go even to Antarctica, you go to Africa, you go to America, that sense of bondage is enough to bring the moha, which is you seek the solution for releasing from this bondage from outside, from where it is not there. Why is it inside? Because it is based on the ignorance. Ignorance is happening in your antakarana. Antakarana is inside, but we seek solution outside. So seeking solution where it is not there is moha. That is the moha, that is the confusion. Moha word is, we'll see in the next shloka. So, dahati, that moha, that pasham, that sense of bondage is burnt. The word dahati, burnt, is not physical. Dahati, burnt is used so that there is no coming back. You won't find that rope anymore. The rope is burnt down. The rope is not available for tying you down again. That way, that rope is not available. It's a burned down. The seed might look outside. The even better example is the seed. The seed of samsara, the seed of moha, which can create more and more samsara, more and more shoka moha, that seed is burnt. It is toasted. The seed gets so toasted, so roasted, and you can stop the roasting even before the color changes. So the seed looks as though nothing has happened, but inside the seed, it has lost the capacity to germinate and give rise to samsara in terms of your shoka moha. So the capacity to germinate is lost, but the seed looks the same. So you will look the same. To your family, you will look the same. So people won't take you for something. People won't see a halo behind you. People will relate to you the same way, but you have become wiser in reality. Okay. So if I can just say the translation in English, it would be by making your mind as the lower block of wood and the making pranava, omkara, as the upper block, upper peg. I have seen this, aranimathana, I have seen this, I have done this also. So what will go on the top of the wood, the lower block, is a peg. That peg is like the omkara, pranava. And the peg itself is small, it has to be attached to a churning rod. And that rod, and with which the repeated churning happens, it is the rod of contemplative inquiry. Then due to this inquiry, the voice and inquiry, not just inquiry without any substance for inquiry. The substance is the entire Shastra, and that is represented by Pranava. This way, the voice burns all bondage as a result of the knowledge obtained by the churning. This is the translation. So what else is remaining? We have seen the verse, we have seen the word meaning, and then we have seen the translation. The part that is remaining with this verse is the most important part of going through Sri Shankarananji's Tika. So we will jump into the Tika. Okay? Atmanam Antakaranam. We saw Atmanam means Antakaranam, which is the mind. Then Antakaranam Aranim Vanhi Janakam Mantra Samskritam Kashtam. The Vanhi tree is used for making the Arani, the base. Then Mantra Samskritam Kashtam. Some mantras are chanted when you do the Arani Matana. This Kashta is made into the Arani. When they make also, even when they make the Kashta to Arani, so much mantras are chanted. So mantra Samskritam Kashtam Krutva Adaha. Krutva is what? Make it as the base. Adaha Vidhaya. Then Adhara Aranitvena Chintayitva. Keep that as a base. Have the base as your Antakarana. Your Antakarana is your base. So you better have that base well prepared. Have your mind well prepared. So in English, when you have heard the word purification of mind, cleansing of mind, all that is what? Just preparing your mind. Replace all those words with the word preparing the mind. So, like for example, before you eat, you have to prepare your plate. The plate cannot have dirt. Whatever great food you might be eating from a festival or from a wedding or from a puja, the bhojan, chappan bhojan, that chappan bhojan has to be served in a clean place. Otherwise, you won't feel like eating, even if it is chappan bhog. Chappan bhog. Chappan bhog. I'm not very good with Hindi. I think that the word chappan would mean 54 or 64. So chappan bhog. That means so many items are there. But even those items has to be served in a clean base. Clean leaf. So you put some water, wipe the plate, wipe the leaf, cleanse it, sanitize it. So here mind preparation doesn't involve this kind of a sanitization. What it involves is giving the preparing so that the right thoughts can happen. It is not vacuuming the mind. It is preparation in terms of shama, dhamma, uparama, titiksha and all that, right? So it is not just some external or physical cleansing. So with that preparation, what do you do? Pranavam, Omkaram, Uttararanim, Omkara, Pranava. You take the Omkara as the Uttararanim. Then Chakaraha Krutva iti etat anuvrityartam. So Chakara. Pranavam chottaraaranim cha is, so you make the pranava as the uttararanim, making the pranava, the making word is represented by the word chakara in the shloka. Okay, then what do you do? Jnana nirmatana abhyasat. That is the word. It's a samasa, it's a compound word. Jnana nirmatana abhyasat. Abhyasa. Abhyasa means again and again. We saw that, right? Barambar. Barambar, you do the shravana. You bring the knowledge. Each time when you bring the same knowledge, does your clarity grow or not? The answer is yes. Your clarity does grow. Each time your clarity grows. So it is not a mechanical bringing it again and again. It's not just a mechanical churning. Each time when you do the same act of churning, there is a difference. Because of the progressive difference, that is why as an end result, the fire is produced, right? So the fire of knowledge is produced by constantly doing shravana again and again in the antakarana, bringing back your reality, aham brahmasmi, the word meaning, the sentence meaning, the lakshyartha, the vachyartha. So word meaning is one thing, the sentence meaning makes more sense, right? And then also if there's an intention, lakshyartha, bringing that meaning, this is all part of churning. Bringing it again and again is not mechanically repeating like a japa. It is not a abhyasa like a japa, om, om, om. And if you are bored, then om, om, om. And if you are even more bored, om. The lengthening the omkara. People do all this. Omkara is only 3 matra. Om. That is the right way to say omkara. And some people even go to the extent of saying that you have to chant omkara, and in order to do the omkara in the right way, in order to get the effect of omkara, what they do? Aum, 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 like that. They do all sorts of chanting of omkara, which is not required, which may even be ashastrika, which may not be shastrika also, which may not be Vaidika also. So here you very clearly it says you bring back the meaning of omkara again and again. Again the meaning is Shravana. Shravana, if not the entire Shastra, at least what we saw so far. What we saw so far regarding Brahma being Shiva, Shankara, Rudra, Brahma being Mahavishnu, Krishna, Rama, Akshara, Sokshara Parat, Nanyah Panta Vidyate Yanaya, like that, whatever we saw, bring that meaning. Each time when you bring the meaning, there's a growing clarity. Puja Swami Maharaj would say, there's a growing clarity. What a beautiful word, right? There's a growing maturity. It is not that there are two groups. Some people say there are two groups of people. Some are matured, some are immature, they say. No. There are two groups. Some are matured, some are maturing. Some of the people's antakarana is growing clarity, growing antakarana. How the growth happens? When you bring the knowledge again and again, bring the reality, bring the inquiry, bring the analysis, and again, this whole thing happens. So that is the jnana nirmatana abhyasa. Abhyasena to kaunteya. Even Bhagavan Sri Krishna says in Gita that abhyasa is a great that is abhyasa is required for vairagya. Even for all the sampatti, we need to do abhyasa. Even for jnana, this abhyasa is there. And abhyasa is not mechanical. It is, as we said, it has to result in, the abhyasa has to be multi-level and also should bring, multi-level means what? It should not be multi-grade, not just LKG grade. It has to keep growing. The abhyasa has to keep growing to first grade, second grade, 12th grade, 12th class, and then college, university. Likewise, it has to keep growing. Our abhyasa has to keep improving, and then the clarity also keeps growing. And what is better than a clear mind? A crystal clear mind is worth a million. Even in terms of money, a diamond, its value increases as they chisel the stone and make it more clear. The more clarity they add to the diamond, the more its value. So clarity has that value. So jnana abhyasat jnanasya sarvatmakaha ahamasmi iti evam rupasya nirmatanam. Sarvatmakaha ahamasmi. Sarvatmakaha ahamasmi. Sarvasya atma ahamasmi. When we get hurt, what we do, if we suppose we get hurt in a leg, what does the hands do? The hands go and take care of it. Hands doesn't go and slap the leg and say, how come you keep getting hurt like this? Why do you get hurt again and again? And then hand doesn't chide, hand doesn't scold, hand doesn't punish the leg, right? Hand goes and tenders the leg, takes care of the leg. Why? Because in the deha there is atma buddhi. Wherever there is a hurt in the deha, even if it's the toe nail, even if it's your nail of your little finger, you feel it and you attend to it. So in the deha, entire deha, there is atma buddhi. Likewise, in the entire creation, there should be atma buddhi. That doesn't mean you're going to suffer everybody's pain and pleasure. Everybody's pain you're going to suffer. That's not the attitude. This is the matana. So how come this sarvatma bhava can be there? How come in the rope there is a sarpatmaka bhava, there is a stick atma bhava, there is a streak of water atma bhava, right? So if you have the rope atma bhava, then all this confusion is gone, and the rope is also in reality was the atma in reality of all that wrong perceptions we have been having. And the rope is not affected by you taking the rope to be a snake. The rope doesn't say, everyone takes me to be a snake. I'm a harmless rope. So maybe I should stop. Maybe I'm really a snake. The rope won't go back and have a doubt about itself, right? So that kind of a ropatmaka bhava is like the sarvatmaka bhava is being mentioned here. Sarvatmaka ahamasmi ityevam rupasya nirmathanam yuktim. So you have to also take to the refuge. You also have to bring some yukti. You have to also bring some yukti as to your help. What is the yukti? Suppose the yuktis are so many. Yuktis can be called as the models. You have to look at so many models. All these models were given by who? By our Acharya, by the Parampara, these models were given. For example, in the Swapna, everything looks real to me. As in the Swapna Kala, in the dream time, all that is happening looks so real to me, but the dream experiences are mithya. The dream experiences are all not real. They are real as long as I dream only, and they don't have reality after I wake up. And the reality of dream is also just because I'm illuminating the dream. Even I'm sleeping, but I'm still illuminating the dream. Once that source of illumination for the dream is taken away, when I wake up, when I withdraw that illumination, then the dream is no more affecting me. So that means dream is mithya, which means its reality, it's dependent. It is dependent reality. Mithya, don't take it as abhava. Don't take it as asatya. Mithya, take it as its reality is karana ananyatvam. Swasatta abhavatvam. It doesn't have its own reality. It is lent reality by you, or it borrows reality. The reality is borrowed. That is mithya. So then if the dream world, which looks so real, it is a mithya because its satta is dependent on me. After I wake up, is this waking world satta, is it also dependent on my satta? Is it my satta which is lending satta and spurti to everything? In that case, the waking world also becomes mithya like the dream world. See, I did not say the waking world is like dream world. That is not the right way to say. The dream model we use just to say that the waking world can also be mithya. Because dream is mithya, it is dependent reality. It is only as real, it is only as real as much as long as I am illuminating it as a taijasa, as the dreaming person. Right? So in the dream world, what happens? You are able, you know mountains, you know rivers, everything you know. Even there is no light, but you still lighten up your dream and everything you know. Only thing you are not lightening up is what? Only thing you are not lightening up is the fact that you are dreaming. So except the fact that you are dreaming, except that factor, you are seeing everything. You are seeing the entire world more than what you see in the waking state. So likewise, what is that except which without which I am not able to see that the waking world is mithya. Likewise, you have to analyze. Take the yukti and keep analyzing, and you will get to the reality. Okay? So much analysis can be done in this line. So, tasmat yuktim, that yukti is the vilodanam, that is a churning. Keep churning with the yuktis, keep churning with keep doing shravana. So all the yuktis will come as a part of the shravana. Some people will only be so much liking these models, they will stick to the model. They won't do shravana. Some models like this they like so much and they will stick to only these models. That is not right. Even, say for example, if they like the karma, they say our Hinduism is all about the theory of karma, and they say everything can be explained in terms of karma. They bypass Ishvara. Ishvara is a karma phaladata. So these people who are not traditional, they try to bypass Ishvara, they bypass puja and everything. They bypass Ishvara pranidhana, they bypass Ishvara aradhana, and they will only stick to this karma or something. But they should understand the karma itself is a model, and the models are always to explain reality. The model of karma is to explain the reality, which is what? Which is that, the Ishvara, there's a karma phaladata, and that is how the connection happens between this karma and the next karma, just like the connection happens between Your hard work and promotion, the connection happens because of your boss, right? So likewise there is Ishvara. So model is just to explain the ways of Ishvara. People give up Ishvara. They sometimes stick to the model. So we have to do the analysis in a very traditional way. That's what I'm trying. In the tradition, Ishvara is everything. So tradition never bypasses Ishvara. I'm talking about Vedanta tradition only. Okay. So utpannena avriti tasya abhyasa avriti rupaha abhyasa. Abhyasa always avriti rupaha, by again and again analyzing. Jnana nirmathana abhyasat tasmat utpan. Because of that, utpannena aham brahmasmi iti sakshatkara agnina. So Agni is what? It's not the fire of knowledge in the sense it is the light of knowledge. So knowledge should produce light like the fire, and knowledge should resolve the heat. It should quench. It should put off the heat and bring out the light. That knowledge. Then what does it do? Pasham atmanaha bandhana rupam ajnana rajju rachitam. This pasham is bandhan, which is rachita, which is authored by our ajnana. Ajnana, and then afterwards we start writing so much stories about how it would have happened, what would have happened. So rachitam, rajju rachitam. So it is a rajju. It is a binding force based on the ajnanam. Aham mamadi granthim. Aham mamadi. So taking ourselves to be just this body, mind, senses. Aham, and these are my people, these are not my people. Right? Even Arjuna had the problem. He had problem with about killing Duryodhana, about fighting against not Duryodhana, against Bhishma and Drona. Right? He had very preferential, he had a preference for them. So until he saw them, he never could understand the gravity of what a huge battle this is and how many lives are going to be lost and all that. So it was all purely, it was a bandha because of pasha, because of ajnana, because of moha. So it doesn't mean, we are talking about freedom not from relationship. We are talking about freedom in relationship. Our Vedanta is what Bhagavan Shri Krishna has given to Arjuna in the battlefield. So here, being here in the world, we are trying to get the clarity. That is when we enjoy the fruit of our clarity, right? So that is my approach. Aham mamadi granthim dahati basmi karoti. Aham mamadi grantham dahati. Aham ahankara and mamakara. Ahankara, mamakara, there's so much yuktis, right? For ahankara and mamakara, when you take up to Ishvara, bhakti and all that, then that ahankara and mamakara gets shifted. So we have all this upaya also. So it's a growing process. We take help of everything. Dahati, basmi karoti, panditaha. But here it's about knowledge. Panditaha, panda. Panda is, solid knowledge. After all the analysis, aham brahmasmi ithi. That kind of a knowledge, solid knowledge, after all the analysis. Buddhihi, aham asmi iti buddhihi. Praptaha panditaha. Buddhihi praptaha panditaha. That buddhi was got, he is the pandita. That is a shloka's meaning in terms of Sri Shankaranaji's commentary. So we had spent enough time on this shloka. We should move on. So we should go to the next shloka. Nanu asya ahang. This is the pre-commentary. This is the sangati. This is the connection our Shankaranaji is given between the shloka which we saw and the next shloka. What is he saying? What is the background for the next shloka? Nanu asya asangasya udasinasya advitiyasya kutah samsaraha pasharupaha ityata aha. So after talking about the upaya in terms of the knowledge, like a churning rod, jnanavrittihi with the yuktihi, after talking about that, then there's a basic question, where is this avidya? Where is it this avidya? Is it in avidya? Is it in Brahman? Is Brahman, everything, Brahman is limitless. So avidya also has to be somewhere there, within the Brahmatvam. Then if avidya also is in Brahmatvam, avidyatvam is within Brahmatvam, it is not outside Brahmatvam, then is Brahman a samsari? You being limitless and you being samsari, can it go together? Then we have to see asanga rupena. Again, the asangata is there. There is nothing outside the Satchidananda Paramatma, but whatever is inside, like such as avidya, there can be asangata between avidya and the reality. See how the problem is solved. There is asangata between the snake and rope, right? Did you see the snake because there was an association between the snake and the rope? The snake is not even there on the rope at all. It is in your antakarana, right? The snake's upadana, the snake's material is not rope. The material for the snake is your ignorance, your antakarana, your ignorance, your memory of snake, your knowledge, your pre-knowledge, your past knowledge of snake is the material. So there is no association, there is asangata between the rope and the snake, right? It's possible to see the snake although there is asangata, although there is dissociation, although the snake is not even there on the top of the rope. So asangata is the solution. So we'll see how that is all being told in the next shloka. What is the next shloka? Saeva maya parimohita atma Shariramastaya karoti sarvam Striyannapanadi vichitra bhogaihi Sayeva jagrat paritriptimeti. Sayeva, that Brahman, which is your Swarupa, that yourself in reality, which has been discussing, that you, Sayeva, Maya parimohitatma, that is carried away by Maya. That Moha, that Atma, it is covered by Maya, by the field of Maya. Maya parimohitatma, Shariram astaya karoti sarvam, takes itself to be the body, firmly believes that it is as limited as the body and all the afflictions of the body, it is me who is getting afflicted, and does everything, karoti sarvam. Then what? Striyannapanadi vichitra bhogaihi sarvam, it does for the sake of sukha dukkha, for the sake of, for sukha praptihi and dukkha nivrittihi. Sayeva jagrat paritripti meti, in the jagrat avastha, paritripti, for the sake of tripti, for the sake of satisfaction and contentment and whatnot. And we go after the water, like them going after the mirage water. So this is the person. It's not different. That Atma, Brahman, which we have been talking, it's none other than you, this person, who is going around because of moha. Right? So we have to know we have to know this so that we know the problem better. So we understand the problem better and apply the solution appropriately. So that is the reason. If we want to translate this shloka, what would I do for just the translation, English translation? Here is the English translation. The self alone, deluded by Maya, is the one who, identified with the body, does all actions in the waking state and obtains a full gratification through the varied objects of pleasure, such as spouse and food and women, food and drink and everything. So that's the literal translation. So we get the fruit of this shloka. We can enjoy the fruit of this shloka when we also look into the explanation in terms of here Sri Shankaranji Maharaj's Tika, his commentary. So what does it commentary say? His commentary says, Sayeva Uktaha Asanga Udasina Eva. That Asanga Udasina, that person who can be called, who can have the name Asangaha, Udasinaha, who can have that name? Brahman can have that name, right? You can give all these names to Brahman. That Brahman who is Udasinaha, who is Asangaha Eva, like the rope which is Udasinaha, Asangaha, so that only Sayeva Natu Anyaha. They are not two realities. One Brahman, one Atma. That reality which we have been talking only. Maya Parimohitatma. Maya Parimohitatma. Maya is Avidya Avarana Vikshepakari Shaktihi Taya Parimohita Atma. Swayam Prakasha Anandatma Swarupa Rupaha Yaha Saha Maya Parimohitatma. Swarupatah, we are Swayam Prakasha. Brahman is Swayam Prakasha. It is not under the dependence of anything else for its self-revelation. Right? Swayam Prakasha, it is the Ekameva Dutiya Satyam. But because of Maya Parimohitatma. So Maya, you see, Maya can be also told as Ishvara Shakti, Bhagavat Vibhuti. You have heard that. As a devotee of Bhagavan, you hear all that, right? So this Bhagavat Vibhuti, it is the Upadhi of Bhagavan, they say. It is the Upadhi of Bhagavan. This Maya is the Upadhi of Bhagavan. So this Maya, Bhagavat Vibhuti, Bhagavat Shakti, it is Shakti of Ishvara. So Ishvara Shakti, why should it throw us into Moha? It need not. In reality, it does not. Ishvara Shakti, it is providing us with this great infrastructure, if I may use the word infrastructure of this body, mind, senses, because we are carrying our vasanas and karmas and punyas and papas and whatnot for several janmas, for infinite janmas. So Bhagavan, with his infinite compassion, is giving us this upadhi in terms of our body, mind, senses, which is all part of Maya. How can you create this? Can you create a body out of all the raw materials? We cannot. The power to create between husband and wife is also Bhagavat Vibhuti, Bhagavat Shakti. So this creation, it is all Bhagavat Vibhuti. It's an infrastructure. So we can exhaust our papa karma and gain more punya and take up to Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, which only a human body can do, human form can do. So you see the glory of Bhagavan's Maya, of Bhagavan's Shakti, of creating, giving us this body and everything, etc., etc. So this is all glory. But with the same body, Bhagavan did not ask us to take yourself to be the Deha only. He is not asking us to feel limited. That is our ignorance. That is our ajnana we have to work on. So the infrastructure is there, but the byproduct of this Maya is also ourselves. We choosing to take ourselves as his body, mind, senses. We have chosen. And why did we choose? This is all anadi. Avidya is anadi. We should not analyze the beginning of avidya. Why? Because it's not going to help us. But is there a solution? Is there a end for avidya? Yes. Avidya can be resolved with vidya. Knowledge can remove avidya. So when there is a solution, we should only seek the solution. We should take avidya as anadi and not worry about its origin and when and what is causing it, when it started and all that in terms of time and space. And we should more focus on the solution. So this is us. See, the government or the sarkar can put beautiful roads. It can employ the best of best engineers, and it can build beautiful roads, beautiful freeways and highways and whatnot. So we can be more productive, more constructive, and we can prosper and all that. But in the same road, what happens when someone drinks and drives? He meets with an accident and dies. So you cannot blame the road or the sarkar or the engineer. So it is our responsibility to make best use of Bhagavan's Maya, of this body, mind, sense and everything, and make progress. So our problem is avidya. Bhagavad Vibhuti is Maya, but both are upadhis. Both are upadhis. Upadhis to Upadhi of Atma, Upadhi of Jivatma is avidya, Kama Karma, avidya, and then Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira and Karma Sharira. Upadhi of Ishvara is avidya, is Maya. Okay, so Paramatma and Jivatma, if the Upadhi of Paramatvam and Jivatvam is reminded, it's one Atma. So that way we are seeing. Okay, that way there is Aikyata. That is the hope. That is why we are studying to see this Aikyata, which is the reality, which matters more than anything else, which matters more than the Upadhi, which Upadhi itself is Mithya. So Swayam Prakasha, so Jakshakti Swayam Prakasha eva Maya Parimohitatma. Shariram Sthuladi. Sthuladi means what? Sthula, Sukshma, Karanadi Sharira. What is Sukshma Sharira? So we have seen that. Sukshma Sharira involves our Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas and Manas. Just like the mind, even the Karmendriyas are Sukshma only. What we see outside as Karma Indriyas, eyes, the physical eyes and all that, they are only Golaka. Because the Grahana of an object or a form or a sound, it is a Sukshma Grahana. It is not physical. So that is why the Sukshma Indriyas are also not physical. They are Sukshma. They are subtle. Beda Bhinnam Manushyadi Kalevaram. Shariram, the Shariram is our Sthula Sukshmadi Bhinnam Kalevaram. Astaya. What is that word? Astaya means Stitva. Sthira, it's taking oneself to be. Aham Manushya Ityadi Abhimanena Asamantat Svikritya Karoti Sarvam Nikhilam Vyapara Jatam. Me Manushya hu. So in this Dhanma, you can say, me taking myself as Manushya, what is wrong with that? Right? Manushya. There's nothing wrong with you taking yourself to be Manushya. The only thing we are concerned is the Parichinnata you are subjecting yourself to. We are concerned with the separation and the afflictions because of the separations. The affliction means what? Shoka, Moha, Dukkha, because of the separation which you are going to undergo. That is what is our concern. See, in the last Janma, we don't know which, they say the human beings, we are now human beings, but we might have taken 84 crore yonis before we attained human birth. So that means we have been born as cat and dog and pig and whatnot. So even when you're a pig, taking your, do you want to say that I am a pig? What is wrong with that? When the pig taking itself to be a pig, what? So the pig has been taking itself to be a pig in one of the birth, and now it is the same pig taking itself to be Manushya. So if you just take yourself to be Upadhi, you see the problem. So there was a pig which was taken out of compassion. Bhagavan took that to Swargaloka. And the pig was introduced to Swargaloka, and it was enjoying. It was happy. For a brief time, it was taken to Swargaloka, and then it said, "I need to go back to my family. I need to go back to my wife and children, and I need to talk to them about this great Swarga life." So the pig went back, and it said to its wife and children, "Look, I went to this Swarga and it was a great place, and we should all move there. I was offered that, I can move there with my family, so let's all go there." Then the she-pig asked her, "Well, going there is okay, but did you ask that if you're going to get the same, if you're going to get the food we are eating here, are we going to get the same food? Did you ask that question?" Okay, so that question, the she-pig, the wife pig, which is into feeding the children, it was asking that question. This male pig said, "No, I did. Oh, I forgot to ask that question. That is a big problem. I didn't ask that question. I was there for a short time and I was really enjoying myself, and I totally forgot to ask this question. I came back." So then the female pig said, "See, that is why I say you are not very practical." Okay. So then he said, "Yeah, I'm not very practical. You're right. We should stay back here, and we may not get the same food." So how right was the pig in taking itself to be the pig? So likewise, how much right we are in taking ourselves just to be Manushya, just to be a male or a female or an individual, a Mumbaikar or a Chennai or a Madrasi. How much right we are, right? So this is the thing. And Striyanna Panadi Vichitra. Okay, we have been seeing what? Swikritya karoti sarvam nikhilam vyaparajatam kurute. That's we saw. Striyanna Panadi Vichitra Bhogaihi Striyaha Manaha Striyaha Manaha then Anukula Yuvataha Annapanaha. So Anukula Yuvataha. Appropriate, so we are after appropriate woman in our life, appropriate man in our life. That's okay. Appropriate woman, man, seeking and searching and finding is fine. But the problem is, after some time, we are not happy with the same person. The same person who we thought to be the source of our happiness, after some time it doesn't seem so, right? So what was the problem? The problem was we have been basing our choices on our likes and dislikes rather than what is right and wrong. So this kind of a moha is there. Moha atma, parimoha atma, parimohita atma we are. That is a problem. Anukula adi shabdena vasanachchadanadi. So all the clothing and everything, what we see, garments, Diwali just came. And how much time we spent over finding the right outfit. The outfit which they put on the model there, we like that same outfit, although we know that we are out of shape for that, right? So we are not very clear about ourselves. Striyeti chandasam. Okay. Sayeva maya parimuda eva natu anyaha. So please, the problem, apply the solution where the problem is. Problem is not somewhere and the solution is not has to be applied somewhere else. Somebody loses something, he has to look at that same place. He should not go out and look because it's more light there, or it is less hot outside. It is more breeze outside, so I'll start looking for outside. That is not the way we try to solve the problem. The problem is in our antakarana. Problem is residing in terms of the ignorance in the antakarana. Solution has to apply right there. So it is the same person who has to work through Shravana Mananadi, Nididhyasanadi. Jagrata, that is a Jagrata, that is a waking person. He has to Jagrata, the word Jagrata is there. What is the translation for the word Jagrata? I'm going to take a few more minutes. Jagrata, Jagarana, Indriyahi, Bhakshya Vishaya Upalabdhi Rupam. Jagarana means with the means of our senses, we are obtaining the Bhakshya Vishaya. Versus Swapnavastha, the senses are not bringing the Vishaya. Our mind, our smriti, our memory is throwing out the Vishaya, right? So this is the difference between Jagrata Avastha and Swapnavastha. So we distinguish the avasthas. Vedanta is not about taking the waking state to be like the dream state. People say all these definitions. It is all like a big dream. That is Vedanta. Vedanta says nothing is there. That is Vedanta, they say. This is not right. See how beautifully there is a definition for Jagrata Avastha. Kurvan paritriptim sarvatah vishaya sukhajam triptim eva gacchati. Gacchati sukam dukkam cha prapnoti ityartha. So the tripti word is there in the shloka. Tripti is, for the sake of sukha and dukkha. For the sake of doing rakshana of what we obtained already, or for going after what we need, or to stay away from what we hate or don't like or detest and all that. So this is how the samsara keeps going for the same person whose swarupa has been discussed as Brahman. So with this we will continue next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Om Shanti Shanti.